I said before that I was going to revisit the ROM hack Pokemon Kalos Crystal, and since it's Halloween, I figured that I would try beating it using only ghost types. This was originally planned to be a hardcore Nuzlocke, but due to time constraints, among other things, I've decided that this will simply be a monotype run. If you don't know what Kalos Crystal is, it's a ROM hack of Pokemon Crystal version that replaces all Gen 1 Pokemon with those from Gen 5, and all Gen 2 Pokemon have been replaced by those from Gen 6. This game still uses the same mechanics as the base game, so no natures or abilities. The only significant changes to gameplay are that ghost moves are now all special, and dark moves are all physical. Oh yeah, the newly added fairy moves are special as well. In terms of what ghost types are available to use, these are all the fully evolved ones that we can obtain. Since I'm not allowing the use of legendaries, I won't be using Hooper, but that still leaves us with 7 great options to choose from. If you're interested in checking out this game, I've left a download link for it in the description. If you enjoy this video, then be sure to show your support by leaving a like and subscribing, as it really helps out the channel. Now without wasting any more time, let's get this Halloween special started. So first off we have to pick our starter. I went with Fennekin, so that my rival would have Froakie. I did want the little frog for water HMs, but then I remembered that it eventually evolves into Greninja, which is part dark type, which of course is strong against us. So I figured it would provide more of a challenge. We defeat our rival easily enough, and now we can catch our first Pokemon in Petal Tower, that being a Yamask. I named it Imhotep. Imhotep? I've never known how you pronounce that. Let me know if you can guess the reference. I had to overlevel a bit to take on Faulkner, because Yamask doesn't learn any non-ghost type attacks through level up. This means that I had to use Confuse Ray on his fledgling, then set up 6 minimizes before hitting back with Struggle. Although I won on my first attempt, it took ages, as he still managed to hit me 3 times with Mud Slap, which of course lowered my accuracy. We eventually took Fletchling down, as well as Tranquil, but because we were missing each other, my victory took longer to achieve than the Brexit deals. After that, I took on the rival, and this one wasn't too bad. Sandile goes down to a few Nightshades, but Frogadier was a bit tougher. He has Lick at this point, which is super effective and can paralyze. I made sure to hold a berry to cure it, and thankfully that got me through. Honedge is weak to Ghost, so I beat him easily. Bugsy is up next, and you know, he is more of a threat than in the base game, unless you use Ghost types. Swadloon only did pitiful damage with Absorb, and went down to 3 Shadow Sneaks. Whirlipede was an easy 2-shot, and Vivian, which looks absolutely gorgeous in this game by the way, was also a 2-shot thanks to a lucky crit. After this, I went back to Route 30 and started headbutting trees so that I could finally catch myself a Phantom. This did take a while, and I'm not sure if that's because I tried this during daytime, but I managed to get one nonetheless and named it Williams. Whitney is next, and she took a few tries. I set up a Leech Seed against Minccino and was about to start setting up with Growth, but I just decided screw it and KO'd with 2 Razor Leaves. Furfrou comes out and made me flinch and dealt big damage with Bite. Second round and I don't flinch and manage to get the Leech Seed up, but I'm in bad shape. Williams faints on the next round. After that, I had Yamask use a combo of Confuse Ray and Minimize, since she has no moves that can directly damage this thing. Eventually, with enough confusion damage and health sapped by the seed, we managed to pull through. After that, I caught a Golett in the cave east of Ecruteak City and named it Myers. He may be small now, but he'll end up becoming big and strong. Rival time. We missed our first Razor Leaf against Krokorok, and he confused me with Swagger. We avoid confusion damage on the next turn and take him out with a crit. I switched in Mize for Helioptile and take it out with a single Mud Shot. I switch back into Williams for Frogadier, but she gets confused by Water Pulse and paralyzed by Lick. Parafusion is the absolute worst. I have so many bad memories of that from when I was a kid. I brought the stupid frog down to a sliver of Razor Leaf, but hit myself twice in a row. Then, just as I thought my luck had run out, we avoid the confusion and KO'd with a Shadow Sneak. After that, his Honedge took us out, but Myers was able to take it down in 2 hits. Time for Morty, and you might think that we'd have an advantage over him, but no. We may be a high level, but all of his Pokemon are evolved up and have better stats. Williams managed to get 2 Growths and a Leech Seed off against Lampen, before taking it out with a Shadow Sneak. Gourgeist was thankfully a 1-shot, but then out comes Trevenant, who hangs on and knocks us out. Yamask finished him off with Shadow Sneak, and now we are down to his Cofagrigus, who didn't even try to fight back. so we beat him easily. While surfing to Cienwood, I caught a Frillish and named it Neptune. I know I used that nickname in the last video, but hey, I like it, so we're going to use it again. Chuck is up next. Pangoro could have been a massive threat thanks to its dark typing, but we confused it and took it down with Nightshade before it could do any damage. Hawlucha managed to take us out by the time we brought it into the red, but Williams finished it off next round. On to Jasmine. Klefki sets up spikes but went down in 2 hits without landing a hit on us. Aegislash outsped an O-code Golett with a Shadow Claw. Yikes. Phantom came out and took it down in 3 hits after she healed it with a Hyper Potion. I set up Leech Seed against Clang, as Gear Grind does over half. I did about a third with Shadow Sneak right before she finished me off. Yamask then came out and finished her in 2 moves. Alright, it's time for price. Phantom managed to 2-hit KO Vanillux, but not before he lowered our speed with Icy Wind. I did a bit of damage with Shadow Sneak to Beartic and got hit for big damage with an Ice Punch. Then I stupidly forgot that my speed had been lowered and got outspeed as I went for Razor Leaf. Frillish got brought all the way down to 2 HP before it could attack thanks to Confusion, and Nightshade did bugger all. Golett surprisingly outsped and started a rollout chain, but got confused by Swagger and hit itself next turn before also getting KO'd. This is bad. Thankfully, Yamask had evolved into Cofagrigus after the last battle, and she was able to tank her way through this damn icy bear. Avalugg is last, so I confused it for safety, and thankfully, we managed to take it out with a few Nightshades. Penultimate rival battle. Golett 2-shotted Doublade, but lost about 2/3 of his health in the process. Krokorok then outsped and nailed us with Crunch. He then did the same thing to Frillish, so I then brought in my newly evolved Trevenant, who outsped and KO'd with the crit Razor Leaf. I set up a Leech Seed against his Druddigon as he did minimal damage back. Then we hit him hard with a Shadow Claw. We finished him off next turn with a crit. We missed our first Razor Leaf against Helioptile and got paralysed, but then we took him out next turn. Greninja hit us insanely hard with Feint Attack, but we got another lucky crit to secure the victory. Claire is last, but she was actually trivial. I evolved Frillish into a Jellicent and made it hold Never Melt Ice to boost his Ice type attacks. From there, all of Claire's dragons were either a 1 or 2-shot sweep with Aurora Beam. After that, I decided to fill out the rest of my team before taking on the league. So I waited until nighttime and caught a Litwick in Burn Tower, naming it Kruger, as well as a Honedge on Route 38, naming it Voorhees. I then brought everyone up to the early 40s before taking on the final rival battle. First was Trevenant vs Druddigon. He set up a nasty plot as I kept hitting him with Shadow Claws. Despite his power boost, he didn't do much damage and soon went down. I switched in Chandelure for Doublade, who took a Night Slash pretty well and KO with a Flamethrower. Heliolisk survived with a Sliver and knocked us out with Thunderbolt, as Golett came in and finished him off with Earthquake. I stayed in for Krokorok and amazingly survived a Crunch and then proceeded to one-shot him in return. I let Greninja take me out in order to get a free switch back into Trevenant. He did set up a double team, but a single crit from Razor Leaf was all we needed to get the win. Alright, let's take one last look at these guys before we take on the league. Overall, I am really happy with how this team has turned out. We've got some strong Pokemon and some excellent type coverage, so we should stand a good chance. Let's have at it. First up is Will, who uses Fairy types in this game. I thought that it was going to be a simple sweep with Doublade, but his Dedenne hung on from an Iron Head and would have knocked us out if I hadn't KO'd with a Shadow Sneak. We then went down to Florges' Pedal Dance. Since I was tired and not really paying attention at this time, I stupidly sent out Golurk. We did take Florges out in 3 hits after Will healed it, but we were in rough shape for his Aromatisse. Chandelure finished it off and managed to take out both his Slurpuff and Sylveon. Not too bad, but that battle could have gone a lot worse. Koga is second. This one was easy. Golurk demolished his whole team with Earthquake. Onto the fighting trainer Bruno. Cofagrigus took down Hawlucha after taking about a third from Sky Attack, but then he sent out Scrafty, and this thing annihilated both Cofagrigus and Trevenant before Jellicent was able to take it out. We went to war with Sorg, as he paralysed us with Thunder Punch. He couldn't do much damage to us, since all electric moves are special in this generation, but it took a while to bring down. I decided to switch into Doublade for Throw, who took him out without taking any damage. Conkeldurr made me flinch a couple times with Rock Slide, but couldn't deal much damage at all, so we took him down in a few Iron Heads. Dark Trainer Karen is 4th, and she is naturally the worst nightmare for a Ghost Trainer. Goluk was able to 2-shot Lipard, but got brought down to a sliver in the process. We did solid damage to Pangoro before going down, before Chandelure finished him off. The scenario repeats against his Zoroark. I switched into Jellicent against Malamar, hoping that we would be tanky enough to beat it. This turned out to be a mistake, as he just outsped and KO'd us before we could do anything. I brought in Trevenant and got off a Leech Seed. We did decent damage with Razor Leaf but got put to sleep. We then missed a full 5 turns before waking up. During this time, Karen set up a nasty plot and healed Malamar with a Hyper Potion. Double got O-code, but Cofagrigus hung on and hit back hard with a Shadow Ball. Now we were both down to 1 Pokemon each with red health. Thankfully, Chandelure was faster and took it down. That was the closest battle so far. We didn't even stand a chance against Lance. His Hydreigon is just way too fast and hits way too hard. I'm gonna have to come back at a higher level. I came back with everyone being at least level 50. My newly evolved Aegislash managed to set up 2 Swords Dances and proceeded to take down his Druddigon. Hydreigon was still too fast though and took us out. I brought out Jellicent and we brought each other down to a sliver. Then we both healed up at the same time. Second time around and he gets brought down to just above half before I fainted. Goluk was able to finish him off. We surprisingly outsped Goodra and brought him down to the red before falling to a Hydro Pump. The scenario then repeats with Chandelure, his Dragougi and my Cofagrigus, who also finished off the battle without much issue. Now we may have beaten the league, but we're far from done, as we've still got all of Kanto to go through. In typical Gen 2 fashion, I'm just going to skip over all but one of the Kanto leaders, that being the 8th leader, Blue. Now Blue is still the toughest gym leader in Kanto. That is always going to be the case. However, this battle was still fairly easy. I only had to use Jellicent and Chandelure for the entire battle. His Pokemon have some strong moves and did a fair bit of damage, but our type coverage was just too good. Alright, time for the final secret boss, Red. Now you all know his team in the original Johto games, right? Pikachu, all 3 fully evolved Kanto starters, as well as Snorlax and Espeon. This is already a very solid team. However, rather than simply replacing them with their Gen 5 counterparts, this mod's creator went all out. Look at this. All 3 Unova starters and all 3 Unova dragons. This is going to be rough. I took a few tries at level 65 and got absolutely mullered. This isn't happening yet. Let's try again at level 70. Still no good. This would be a pretty even matchup, but his legendaries have 2 higher stats. Right, level 75. We one-shot Superior with Flamethrower. We switch in Jellicent against Emboar and tank an Earthquake pretty well and KO with Surf. We stay in against Reshiram and do about a quarter before we go down. I bring in Goluk and he brings us down to about a quarter and Earthquake finishes him off. I switch into Trevenant for Samurott and tank his Aqua Jet easily before taking him out with a Wood Hammer, but we lose about a quarter of our health to the recoil. I set up a Leech Seed against Zekrom before he nailed us with Outrage. I had hoped to KO with Goluk, but he broke through his confusion and knocked us out anyway, until we were both brought into the red, but he hid himself in confusion. Alright, down to his last Pokemon. We didn't get a chance to do anything to cure him, but Aegislash was able to tank one of his Outrages and deal massive damage with Iron Head. I am down to just Chandelure, but we outsped and got the knockout with Flamethrower. Well, as tough as that was, I thoroughly enjoyed this challenge, and I really hope you guys did too. If you did enjoy, then don't forget to like and subscribe as it really helps the channel out. I would absolutely love to do YouTube full time, so your support would really be appreciated, and will go a long way to making that dream a reality. Anyway, I have something special planned for Halloween, where I'll be doing my first discussion video on my favourite horror game, The Suffering. I hope to see you guys there. I'm not sure if there'll be another challenge in between this one and now, so we'll have to wait and see. Maybe I'll do my first speedrun. Who knows? Right, until next time, thanks as always for watching, and have an awesome day.